Hey everybody, Trendy John here from Simpler Trading. Want to go ahead and do this broad market analysis. It's never too late. Basically, I was in Tahoe. You guys know that. I had a wonderful trip. It is Tuesday. I got back in the chair today, was able to trade with you guys tomorrow. Couple updates. As you all know, we have our free webinar tomorrow. So please make sure you sign up. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description of this video. If you have not done so, please do that. Again, it's free. I like to be straight up with you guys. Melissa and I are going to come in. We're going to give you some intro into supply and demand. We're going to talk about the type of trades we take. We're going to show you examples of that. We're going to go over the type of things that you could see here in the community. And then we're going to roll out what I think is a beautiful thing, and it's the education for this year. Melissa and I are both going to be presenting over 12 classes for you guys. And we plan to knock those out, I believe, within a 4-month period. So it'll be, I think it's like 2 classes every other week. I'll have the details for tomorrow morning. And then, of course, we're going to roll out an amazing price for a lot of you who are coming up on your either quarterly renewal or your annual renewal. We'll also have a deal in there just for all of that stuff. So you guys know how it is. Please come join us, at least support us. And we can't wait to see you there. The next thing I'm going to do this video, please understand that I am a supply and demand trader. We're going to talk about a couple different things on here. Believe me, when we talk about, the market watch here, looking at the U.S. economic stuff, all of that is just news catalysts that push price to supply and demand. My job and Melissa's job is to identify these levels with you, teach you the process, how to get you into these trades with the confidence that you're looking for. This is not an easy market. I know a lot of traders are having a difficult time. So if you find yourself, FOMOing, getting out of trades too quickly, then you're definitely want to come and check us out. Again, we have an amazing trial, so make sure you guys click in for that. And if you're still just wondering what we do, again, check out the webinar. Let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, usually I would push these out on a Sunday night. We are going to be reviewing this week, which ends the month as well. So on the 28th, and let's get started with this week's major U.S. economic reports and Fed speakers. Please just take 1 second, hit the like button, and you don't have to leave a testimonial, but if you're in our room and you're doing really well or you love what we give you, please, jot something down. But the likes just let me know that, hey, you guys really appreciate the comments. And last week was amazing. I think that the most, likes, which is, I don't get paid for likes, but you guys, it was like over 200 and something likes, over 1,000 views, which is big for me. You guys know I'm trying to grow, so I just really appreciate you and thank you so much. All right, so Monday's over. Tuesday's over, so let's get to the good stuff. Wednesday, tomorrow, new home sales. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic speaking. That could cause a little bit of volatility, so just be aware of that. We also have Nvidia earnings tomorrow afternoon, which is highly anticipated. That it can move the market, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Thursday, initial jobless claims coming in, and these are Eastern time, so everybody understands. And then some GDP, and then we have some more Fed speakers speaking. And then that gets us into Friday, where we have PCE year over year. Some more Fed heads speaking. Should be exciting. I think there's a lot of weight and emphasis put on Nvidia. But really what it comes down to is just supply and demand. And I'm going to show you those levels here as soon as we can. All right. Let me move this over here and get us started. The next thing we're going to be looking at is going to be earning whispers. So again, Monday is out of the picture. I do want to talk about HIMS. Nice pullback. Look at your monthly and your quarterly charts. Look for your demand structure. We found some today. I am interested in HIMS. Not quite there yet, but I am interested in starting a position there a little bit later. TEM also nice pullback. Also very close to a level, not quite there. And that's kind of the theme for this week and what I'm seeing when I speak to a lot of traders with stocks that they're really interested in is we are at this crucial level in a lot of names where there's imbalance in the market where big orders came in months ago and prices not resorted back to there. And we're just so close. We're right there where if we could just get a big flush, a lot of this stuff would set up for a beautiful, probably rally into next quarter. I'm not saying every single day, but I think that there are some beautiful levels down below. So I'm very bullish on a deeper pullback, but I'm also bullish right now, and I'll show you where I got long on some names today and some other things that I'm getting into. Okay. Today, Kava reported I was really looking for a much bigger move. Absolutely flat in the aftermarket. I think they closed at like 99 and or something around there, and they're at 100. So kind of disappointing. Would love to actually see some follow through. I do think these guys can push back up within the next several weeks to 115 to 125. So keep your eyes on Kava. Next, coming in for tomorrow, definitely interested in Lowe's. I have leaps in Home Depot. We added to those leaps today. And again, those don't expire until January 2026. Over here, Lowe's, let's see how they do compared to Home Depot. And then Nvidia, of course, we have Snowflake, AI, Salesforce CRM. These are just names that I'm sort of interested in. And then over here on Thursday is going to be DELL. And moving on down. Okay, right here, Duolingo. I'm definitely interested in this name. It's been really, really hot. I want to find some levels. Most likely, if it makes sense, I'm going to trade this into earnings using my specific strategy that we will be teaching in one of the education courses that I will be revealing tomorrow. Okay, Friday, Fubo. Interested in this name. Is getting some traction out on social media, so I'm kind of curious just to take a look at it and see what it looks like. And then as we move on, we want to come over here and now get us into SPY, the bigger picture. I use a quarterly chart to keep on the right side of my portfolio for the long term. Now, when I say on the right side, sometimes we do have drawdowns and pullbacks, but this is very, very important to the overall success of a long term. So what I do is I come in here every single week and I write a bunch of notes, and you guys can see I keep these notes. I love this for transparency, just to show you guys if you're watching this every week and you read them, so you know what I say, what I record, what I write. It's all here as a testimonial. There's no like hindsight type of trading. I can't stand that. So I want to show you and talk to you what I expect before it happens so that we can be ready when price gets to levels that we want to trade. All right. So far as this week's notes, a new high was established last week. Just as I was saying, I had an 85 percent probability that we would see a high, and we definitely saw the high, but it was short lived. Price this week has held the 618. Our two major levels are 590 and 598. Our major support for the quarter chart is 562 and 533. And if that was a lot of information, don't worry, I'm going to show you what I mean. So the major levels are right here. That's the 23 and 38.2. Overall, this big move here. And again, I would expect this to hold. So if we were to get some sudden pullback, again, guys, I like it definitely between 560 and 533. This is where I'd be looking for a buy for a long-term trade. Okay. Let's go ahead and then pull this out of the way, and I'm going to pull you over here into SPY on the weekly. Okay. And we're going to get to Bitcoin. We'll go over this at the end of this presentation. Okay. So we're going to come over here on SPY, and we're going to take you into the weekly, which is right here. So those other levels, where did I get these from? So we did make the high. Again, I was looking for that really nice probability to play out of 85%. We made the new high. We then pulled back. So I said short-lived. And I even went over this. I said, listen, the 85% probability doesn't mean like we make a new all-time high and we go up, $15 from there. All it's saying is we will make a new all-time high, and then from there, it could see exactly what we saw. So 1 week down, boom, and then 2 weeks down. So our two major levels that I just said to you were the 598 level and the golden fib, which is 590. So why these levels? Because if price gets back above this level, we're back in what's called the bullish channel for SPY. Now, what I'm measuring on this particular, coefficients, the coefficients that I'm using, I'm anchoring from this low to this high. All right, so don't get them mixed up. You may see later on the ES futures, I'm using a much longer dated level with coefficients, so it may look a little bit different. I'm being a little bit what less patient, if you will, on a weekly chart. So I'm using a smaller range. So again, guys, golden Fibonacci, very important. We need to hold that. And you guys can see we held it very nicely today. I actually got long in the futures, and I'll show you that here in a few minutes. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Now we're going to go into the QQQ. And as a reminder, I'm going to give you 3 seconds real quick. Please just go ahead and hit the like button. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it again. And then we'll go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and put the Qs in here. Just like that, we're going to bring the notes in. Price indeed made an all-time high. I talked about it this past week, but just like the SPY, it was short-lived. This week's price is below the 618, and the two major levels are 525 and 503, and your major support levels are 491 and 463 right here, 23 and 38.2 of the rally, and you guys can see where those levels are. And then now let me show you on Thinkorswim what it looks like on the weekly and those major levels that I'm talking about. So this is a little bit different, right? We're using the same anchor points right here on our Fibonacci's, but we're below the 618. We came into what the trendy room calls the imposter level. We got a bounce from there. Now, the probability suggests that we have an 85% probability that we hit this 88.7, which is 503. Again, Nvidia could change those things, but Nvidia has to prove that it can get back above this 524 level. So going back to those two major levels, 525 and 503. 503 and 525. Just remember those, okay? Everything between is just noise. The catalyst from Nvidia, economic pressure, those kind of things are going to push price to one of these major levels, okay? All right. And let me just say bye to a couple people who are hanging out. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, the next thing we're going to be looking at is going to be the dollar. All right. So let's check out the dollar, which is the DXY. We're going to bring that back over to Trading View. Again, ticker symbol DXY. And we're going to, on this, let's go ahead and look at a daily. We hit that supply zone, prices pulled back, we came into demand. This is a word of caution when we're in demand. We're looking for the dollar to potentially bounce in here, but what you'll notice on the daily is as long as it's staying below the cloud, the dollar continues to drop. When price is in demand, I would expect if the dollar were to rally really hard, that most likely the market will pull back a little bit, kind of giving us a little bit more motivation on some of those charts that I'm showing you that we could continue to pull back. Okay, again, I'm bullish on a deeper pullback, but for right now, I'm also trying to play the bounce. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Out of the dollar, we're going to look at the 10-year treasury. That's going to be the TNX. And same notes I've been giving you for the last several weeks. The zones are working very well. I'm neutral for now. Technically, I see this moving, and nobody's giving me this information. I'm just technically using what I have on here. But I see us moving towards 3.8 and below into June and July. But for now, there is caution warranted in the overall market if we see above 5.005 or okay, or if we continue to drop as we get closer to 4.2 to about 4.1, be careful in here. You could see a big spike in the TNX. There's a lot of divergence being created between this cloud and price. And if we get like a big push really quick, it'll probably excite the market, scare some traders and so forth. Okay. Now, saying that, guess where we are in the skew? So the skew last week, right? And if you guys don't know anything about the skew, not the shoe, but the skew, okay, this stuff is very important. This is an indicator developed by the Chicago board and basically measures perceived tail risk in the S&P 500. Okay, and you want to look at it on a weekly. That's going to actually give you the levels. And remember, if you were to put the SPY or the Qs behind this, you'll notice that when the skew is high, you're about to get a rug pull in the market. Okay, it basically you're just people are extremely greedy. Participants are primarily on the call side, and nothing could get in their way, right? So if you're buying up here in this nosebleed section when the skew is high, and let's say that prices are at all-time highs, you really got to have some caution. And we talked about that just a couple weeks ago, and sure enough, we got the big pullback. So how do you use this in traders? You can adjust this to your portfolio. The skew is high, one might consider buying protective. So buying insurance. That's what puts are, right? Puts are insurance. So you don't want to be buying puts when the market is breaking down. You want to be buying puts when the market is actually moving up into areas that we identify on here. That's going to mean that your puts are going to be cheaper. You're buying some time and you kind of give it some time, then it starts to roll over, and then you take those profits. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just gauging this. This is not to be confused with, hey, I'm just going to go out and short or long the market because of where the skew is, right? It's a useful tool for gauging sentiment and potential risk, but it's one of many indicators that I'm using during this broad market analysis to kind of put the pieces together. So, where is the skew now? It is at 157. It's come down 10 points. It was at an all-time high, guys, and then you got the rug pull. It made sense. And if you've been watching these, this should get you right on the right side. Okay. At least, at least your timing might not be perfect, but I'm hoping that it can at least help you. Okay. So don't feel like, oh, well, I missed that, man. Oh, that was so dumb of me. It's not that easy. It takes a while to put all this stuff together. You guys are on the right track, I promise you. Okay. So we did come down. That's a good sign. We're right down here. I know it's hard to see, but there's a little candle right there. So there's room for the market to bounce a little bit. And again, I think Nvidia could do that for us. And we'll talk about that here just in a few minutes. Next thing I want to be looking at is the fear and greed index. This is very important. You guys are scared. Everybody's scared, right? Just kidding. I don't know if you're scared, but there is extreme fear out there. That is a sentiment. Um, Investors are a little concerned. Maybe they're buying puts. Listen to me. We could get like a capitulation event at some point, but that's actually very rare. So once the gauge here is pointing this far to the left, it's time to start asking yourself, are the ES futures in demand? Are the Nasdaq futures in demand? Is the Dow, is the RTY? Are things lining up where we could see a bounce? And what I like about this is that we're at 23, and believe me, man, this thing could go down several more points and really scare a lot of traders. And that's where, I don't want anyone in here getting used to the idea that just because we're in extreme fear that the market has to bounce. And what we haven't seen in a long time is the needle stay in extreme fear for an extensive period of time. And that's something maybe a lot of traders haven't seen. And I'm telling you, I have seen that. And that's where you wake up every single day and it feels like months, and it could just be a couple weeks, but it just feels like the market cannot do anything. So just because this is at 23 does not mean we can get a bounce. We got to know where we are in the futures, which is what I'm about to tell you, okay, or show you. So let's go ahead and we are going to minimize this. Let's pull up the ESH25, which is what I am using. I did get long today. Now I had several positions on, so I say 59.43. My last ad was at 59.43. I was actually building a position in the zone, and yes, it's starting to pay off now, but it's not always like that. And we teach you how to trade these zones and how to feel confident. So if you're a futures trader, guys, we do futures in the morning. We do options, we do equity, we do it all. We are a one-stop shop. You can use supply and demand on any chart, and I think that's why we're so popular because we're teaching people how to fish, and we're not just a one-trick pony, if you will. Okay. Anyways, so here we are looking at the ES futures. So remember, what was the question I just asked? Are we getting to an area where we could see a bounce? We are, right? So price hit supply. I talked about this for the last several weeks. Matter of fact, I showed you this level back in December. I said that we would be trading between these levels between December and February. And you guys can see the only level that has not been traded into is this green level. So let me go back to what I'm saying. I am buying off of this level here, okay? But I am more bullish on a pullback to here. Doesn't mean I'm bearish. It just means I like a good deal. I don't know about you guys, but I love a good deal. All right. So if we could get down here and we flush really quickly, don't be scared. Have a process. Come learn one. This is where I want to be accumulating for a longer term position. Okay. All right. So overall sentiment going into this week is caution below 60.35. What is 60.35? That is a trendy edge. It's this blue level. It's hard to see because I have a marker over it, but this is a trendy level. It's one of my indicators that identifies supply and demand. And it has been the major level for this entire year. I know it's only been 2 months, but basically what I've said is when we're above this level, we are long with caution. When we are below it, we are risk off, but optimistic at demand zones. So I bought at a demand zone. We're seeing that pop. That's exactly what I wanted to do. All right. Now, if I'm wrong, I get stopped out. And if we somehow get that big flush, then I'll do the same process as we get lower and lower. Okay. Let's go into the daily. Daily is pretty cool because what I do is I put trigger longs on here, and you can see that this trigger long worked really, really well. We got a really nice bounce. Here we are on a Tuesday night. We're up 22 points. We continue to bounce. I sold some credit today in the SPX room. I have two different rooms, just in case you didn't know. We have the Trendy Trading Room, which is Melissa and I, and we do a lot of education, a lot of different alerts and so forth. And then I have an SPX room where we only identify SPX trades. Okay. And today I sold some iron flies. I'm hoping that we can continue to push up here into tomorrow's open and then look to take some of that off. Okay. Now, this chart looks bearish, but I want to be sure that everybody understands what I would like to do is take the trades that I took this morning and peel out right here around 60.35, that major level, because everything's starting to line up. If you look, we had the 50 SMA, which is this pink line, and then we had the trendy cloud, and they're all coming to this focal point, which is the trendy edge. I can't make this stuff up. So very, very important level. If we were to push up towards there, that's where I want to trim. And most likely, if we get a rally into Nvidia earnings before they report, most likely that rally stalls when the ES futures hit 60.35. Okay, so I'm going to close my futures position there, be happy with it, and just kind of wait it out to see what happens. Now, in my portfolio, I continue to stay long, net long, and then I add as prices come into bigger levels like this. Okay, guys? If you got any questions, just make sure you reach out to me. Here's the 4 hour. This is the red zone that we've been using for, since looks like December. Every time we come up here, it's been a time to get out of your trades, pull your stops up, that type of thing. And then price pulls back. We're in a demand zone. This is where I got long again today in this area here. Um, yeah, that pretty much sums up ES futures. So again, overall sentiment, caution below 60.35, but I'm optimistic from these levels for bounce type plays. Let's go ahead and move into the Nasdaq H25. And one more time, guys, just one more time, please. All right, thousands of you watch this, and 200 people hit the like button, which I really, really appreciate. But there's still 800 of you who watch the video and who just don't take just a second just to hit the like button. I get it, guys. There's a lot of damn videos I watch, and I never hit the like button. But then when I think about myself, I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and hit it. So just do that for me. Thank you so much. Anyways, let's move on. NASDAQ futures, we'll go to the weekly, and a lot like the ES future, same thing, guys. We did make the high. Sorry, we did not make the high on the NASDAQ futures. I believe we made the high on the Qs, and that's where things can be a little bit different. We are inside and down here. We are holding the 38.2, which is the bullish channel. Okay, so things look okay, but if we were to flush down, most likely we would hit, down here towards 20,678 by 20,257. So I'm bullish, all right, but caution, all right, same thing, caution, but optimistic at levels, and I'd be optimistic from the idea that the 38.2 is holding so far, okay? Let's go ahead and move on to the daily. All right, so the daily, this is what it looks like, a little bit different. I don't have a buy trigger in this area. It's just kind of floating in here. There's a lot of divergence between this flush, right here, and where this cloud is, and you guys can see this resistance level. I have it just right above there at the trendy edge at 21,704. You could bring this down just a tad, but I'm gonna leave it there. Anytime that I see my trendy levels, right, these purple, this is identifying demand, and it didn't quite come there, I'm a little skeptical, if you will, right? Because most of the time at levels, it's not a matter of if, it's when they're hit. So when they're not hit, I'm like thinking in my head, we'll probably bounce and then roll back over and come down towards here. So again, guys, just like the ES futures, I'm thinking this is resistance until proven otherwise. Both the ES and the NASDAQ, these could be opportunities to go short if we get the move up there. Again, I'll assess when price gets there, but for right now, that's kind of the plan. If Nvidia even has a good quarter, what you could see is that this moves up towards here, kind of sucks a lot of people in, and then just rolls back over, and there's some kind of headline about economic, pressure and so forth. Okay. Again, a lot of good information coming out on Thursday and Friday from the stock market, as far as economic news. Okay. So it's not always just going to be about Nvidia, if you will. On the 4 hour, same thing, supply zone, same thing we've been using. Prices broke down from there. Demand zones worked. I'm just going to keep this demand zone and this supply zone for right now. I think these are the two major zones that we continue to trade between. So please, pay attention to these. And as you get lower down here, I'm always looking to get long, and as we get higher, I'm looking to be careful and pull those stops up in my positions. All right, guys, to finish this out, we're going to come over here and take a look at Bitcoin because I'm sure it's on some of your minds. We're up about 1,200 points or so. Nothing has changed from my overall big look. I have crypto, and I have much lower prices. And Bitcoin, I'll continue to buy, especially if we get in the green zone. Right now, things were looking really good last month, and then we just totally turned, which made sense to me because, again, we had a lot of divergence between price and the cloud. It's not a matter of if, it's when, and well, that when has already started to kind of develop. And so, what we want to see is price at least come down to the 9 EMA or perhaps even the green zone. So, I'm waiting before my next add in Bitcoin. It has to be in this green zone for me. If for some reason I don't get it, that's okay. I got enough. And if it starts to move back above 101,000, that's great. So the over under the big level for this year, just like I have a big level for the ES and the Nasdaq, is 101,000 for Bitcoin. All right. So my 2025 projection still sits up here around 138,000. But again, just like the rest of the market, I'm more bullish on a deeper pullback to get even longer in the stock market. Now, this is kind of like a special towards the end of this. I want to go over Nvidia earnings with you really quick and what my blueprint looks like going into tomorrow. So, this is what it looks like. Let's go to a weekly, same one that I'm sharing with our group here. It's going to look just like this. So, my overall thought, a lot like the market, I'm actually bullish on a deeper pullback. I would love to see Nvidia drop between 117 and 107, even all the way down to 95. This is an area I would like to buy more shares. I believe in my grandkids account, I have a cost basis of about $95 on. Let me just double check. I don't want to be wrong here. And let's get to Nvidia. Take a look here. Average cost 106, sorry. So 106. So I definitely would want to add back in here. And if I got super lucky, over the next several weeks, months, we get down all the way close to 70, between 90 and 75. And then I would definitely be adding into my shares there. Okay. Now, what do the Bulls need for tomorrow? I don't think, I mean, looking at this chart, it doesn't look like price is going to get over 143. But if it does, then that's a great look for Nvidia, guys. If we can close over 140, let's call it 144. If we can close over 144 for Nvidia, it looks really good. So, what would I do into earnings? For me, my play would be this: buying put debits from 117 to about 107, so about a $10 wide for the downside. And then for the call side, I would be looking at debits for 133 to 143. And those are going to be expensive because we're already at 128. So I would have to price it out. So be in the room tomorrow. We'll be talking about it. I'll tell you what my trade is going into Nvidia, but those are my two major levels are going to be here and then 117 by 107 going into earnings. I really hope you guys appreciated this. Sorry for the delay, but duty called. We had to go to Tahoe and hang out for a little bit, but I'm back and can't wait to trade with you guys. See you in the central room. Don't forget to sign up for the webinar tomorrow. We'll see you there. Thanks again. Bye.